When Earth burned, the galaxy watched. They watched through the crystal corridors of the Galactic Council, sipping synthebrew and running simulations on lives they'd never see. They called it containment protocols. We called it cowardice. No one moved to help, no fleets, no diplomats, no humanitarian aid. Entire cities cracked like brittle glass beneath orbital bombardment. Humanity, alone, was being tested. And like always, we failed expectations. Except we weren't alone this time. We remembered the first time humans came for us. Back when the Carthel hegemony obliterated our mining colonies, when the Council declared our system strategically non-viable, a human cruiser dropped from slipspace into the heart of the hegemony like a hammer through glass. The captain, grey in his beard and iron in his gaze, simply said, "Heard you folks were in trouble." And then they fired. We had watched from our hiding points as their ship shattered under return fire, yet before it died, it tore through the flagship of the Carthel like paper beneath a guillotine. The enemy fled. Our system survived. That was humanity's first lesson. They don't negotiate, they don't hesitate, they solve problems with overwhelming force, ferocity, and sometimes lunacy. Years later, when the Threxian Dominion descended on Earth for a border dispute no one had thought worth intervening in, the Council's advice was the same as it had been for us: patience. Let the primates exhaust themselves, they said. We didn't. We loaded every freighter with munitions. We stripped orbital stations of shielding plates and welded them to hulls. Retired miners and ex-soldiers signed up as volunteer crews. When our small fleet arrived at Sol, the planet was a bleeding marble. Cities were smoking, fleets shattered. And in orbit hovered a Threxian battle carrier, spines bristling with plasma lances, ready to finish the job. We hailed Earth's command. Silence. Static. Then a voice, hoarse, furious, human. "This is Admiral Harlow," she said. "If you're here to evacuate refugees, get in line. If you're here to negotiate surrender, go to hell." Our fleet master, Keth Varin, leaned into the comm, "We're here to return a favor." There was a pause. Then laughter, sharp, incredulous, exhausted. "Well, I'll be damned." We didn't win that day. But we changed the math. Verati freighters rammed Threxian frigates. Boarding crews armed with mining lasers carved through alien hulls. Humans, rallied around our arrival like cornered wolves finding reinforcements, moved with terrifying precision. They did not retreat when wounded. They accelerated. I remember boarding a human destroyer, hull shredded, atmosphere venting in glittering streams. A human marine grabbed me, dragging me through the breach. Missing an arm. Blood streaked across his face. "'Bout time you showed up," he grinned. We fought shoulder to shoulder through corridors slick with alien ichor. Humans fought differently, less elegant than any council species, but more committed. They improvised, adapted, and when wounded, made it count twice as much. By the time the Threxian carrier withdrew to regroup, Sol's orbit was a graveyard. Earth still turned. The Council called it a stabilized conflict. We called it survival. We stayed for 6 months, fighting in asteroid fields, wrecked orbital stations, and shattered shipyards. We lost half our fleet. But when the Threxians finally pulled back, Keth and I understood what the Council never did. Humans do not forgive. Humans do not forget. 5 years later, when we returned home to rebuild, we expected a polite message, a commemorative statue, a formal thank you. We did not expect the black hulls to appear in our skies. Hundreds of them. Sleek, alien in their design, bristling with weapon arrays that bent physics sideways. Our planetary defenses spun up in panic. Ketha's jaw was tight. "They wouldn't," he whispered. The lead ship transmitted a single message. "This is Admiral Harlow. We're here to reward our friends." Reward. The word rolled across the comms, simple, understated. We stared, unable to comprehend it fully. Then, the slipspace engines flared behind the fleet, and I felt it deep in my bones. They hadn't just survived. They had evolved. And the galaxy was about to pay the price for underestimating them. The humans didn't invade. That would have been the easy choice. Instead, they landed. Factories unfolded across our deserts as if the soil itself had sprouted metal. Automated constructs whirred and shifted, extruding infrastructure at speeds no Verati engineer believed possible. Orbital platforms assembled like flowers blooming in zero gravity. Energy grids hummed to life without draining our star. We watched, mouths agape, as humans worked alongside us, not as overlords, not as saviors, but as partners. They didn't demand tribute. They didn't issue commands. They built. They healed. They taught. When Admiral Harlow came to meet Keth in the Capitol Dome, she was augmented, older, her left eye replaced by a glowing blue lens that seemed to read your intentions before you spoke. "You risked extinction for us," she said simply. Keth narrowed his eyes. "No species does this out of kindness alone." Harlow's smile was thin, sharp, and entirely human. "Good. You're not stupid." She activated a holodisplay. The Threxian Dominion had not been idly reassessing, they had been preparing. While the Council brokered hollow peace talks, the Dominion reverse-engineered the wreckage of human ships from Sol, adapting it, trying to learn our secrets. "They think they understand us," Harlow said. "They think they've adapted." The display shifted. Hidden human shipyards in the Kuiper Belt revealed vessels dwarfing anything the Threxians had ever fielded. Railguns capable of cracking moons. Drone swarms that moved like intelligent storms. Fleets that could wipe a system clean before an enemy could even fire. "And you're showing us this because?" Keth asked carefully. "Because," she said, voice low, "the next war won't just be about Earth. It'll be about anyone who stood with us." Her words settled like ice over our nerves. 3 months later, the Threxians struck. They didn't target Earth. They targeted us. Their fleets tore through space, bypassing Council monitoring, moving with precision and brutality. "Verati," their broadcast hissed, "your alliance with the primates marks you for correction." Correction. As if genocide were a mere bookkeeping error. Our orbital rail arrays fired first. Human engineers had upgraded them far beyond our understanding. 3 Threxian carriers ruptured under coordinated fire before their main armada even knew what hit them. And then the human reinforcements arrived. Slipspace tore open like a wound. Black, sleek ships poured through, forming perfect formations that betrayed no panic, no hesitation. Admiral Harlow's flagship cleaved through the Threxian flank like a blade through wet paper. Drone swarms enveloped frigates, tearing them apart molecule by molecule. I fought in the corridors again, older, slower, but no less furious. Threxian warriors lunged, mandibles snapping, acid spraying. One hissed, "You were warned." "So were you," I replied, and triggered the charge. The battle lasted 17 hours. When it ended, debris formed a new ring around our world. Thousands of Threxian ships were gone, and those left sent desperate pleas for retreat. Captured commanders were brought before a joint tribunal of humans and Verati officers. Harlow's voice, cold and precise, cut through the chamber. "You targeted civilians." The lead Threxian commander spat, mandibles trembling. "Deterrence requires spectacle." Harlow leaned forward, blue eye glowing. "Good. You will remember this. Because we could end you tonight." A holodisplay shifted to reveal Threxian breeding worlds, core infrastructure, sacred hive moons, all mapped, all vulnerable. "We could exterminate your species," she said quietly. "But we won't." "Mercy," the Threxian hissed, disbelief curling in its tone. Harlow's smile was a predator's. "Debt. You attacked those who saved us. You failed to understand that humans remember favors." Then she gestured to us. "They saved us. So we save them. But the next time you mistake restraint for weakness, you won't be so lucky." The broadcast went galaxy-wide. The council chambers went silent. For the first time, they saw what we had already known. Humanity does not negotiate weakness. Humanity punishes oversight with precision, and restraint is just another form of power. We, the Verati, had been saved. Rewarded. And for the first time, I understood that the galaxy's calculation of risk, of primitive species, of human fragility, had been wrong. Because the humans weren't just survivors. They were architects of vengeance, patience, and strategy. And they were patient. We thought we were being rewarded. We were being prepared. The Threxians retreated, but their shadow lingered across the stars. The council, once smug and dismissive, scrambled to convene emergency sessions, whispers of human unpredictability passing through marble halls like a contagion. We, the Verati, were left to pick up the pieces, and to wonder what we had really unleashed. Humans didn't just save us, they remade the battlefield. Entire solar systems now felt fragile, like glass under their weight. And they weren't done. Admiral Harlow convened a council of allies in our rebuilt capital. She didn't speak of diplomacy or negotiations. She spoke in terms of war, terms of deterrence, terms of inevitability. We are not here to punish, she said, her blue eye scanning each representative. We are here to prevent your extinction before the galaxy even thinks about it. We blinked. Prevent extinction. Not revenge. Not conquest. Prevent. Then the displays flickered. Coordinates appeared, marking Threxian strongholds, staging systems, hidden supply routes, secret command hubs. Humans had been mapping the Dominion for years. Years we had assumed were spent rebuilding. This, Harlow said, is why we've come back. To make sure no one underestimates you, or anyone else again. We felt our jaws tighten. Reward. This was more than reward. It was preparation. And then the subtle cruelty of it hit. Humans didn't just arm us. They embedded us. Each freighter, each orbital rail array, every new shipyard we'd helped construct was also a testing ground. They watched how we fought, how we adapted, how we thought under fire. Every failure, every improvisation, every heroic, bloody mistake fed their understanding. Harlow stepped closer. You fought with courage when the council turned away. You improvised, you bled, you survived. And now, you'll be ready. When the next war comes, you'll be indispensable. We were silent. Pride and unease battled inside us. Humans had always been unpredictable, but this was strategic genius at a scale no one in the galaxy could have imagined. 3 weeks later, the Threxians tried to test our resolve again. Smaller raids, probing attacks, ships creeping through monitoring grids like insects under glass. We fought them, yes, but this time, every strike we made had a human guiding principle behind it. Every defensive pattern, every ambush, every improvisation had been subtly taught, seeded, honed. We weren't just defending ourselves. We were being sculpted into something sharper, deadlier. And the Threxians noticed. Their transmissions grew frantic. Your allies, they adapt, faster than physics allows. Harlow didn't respond with force. She responded with a single-line broadcast across Dominion frequencies. You think you understand us. You are still learning the alphabet. The galaxy shivered at the implication. The humans had not only returned the favor, they had rewritten the rules. Entire doctrines, entire fleets, entire species assessments were obsolete. The council had believed themselves to be arbiters of power. They were spectators. And yet, the humans did not humiliate. They did not annihilate. They rewarded. Our planet grew stronger. Our fleets grew faster, smarter, deadlier, not because of our ingenuity alone, but because humans had lent their brilliance to our cause. And yet, every gift, every enhancement carried their signature. Cunning, foresight, ruthlessness hidden beneath the veneer of generosity. I watched Harlow once, walking through the rebuilt city, observing children playing among the newly constructed arcologies. A stray Verati engineer asked her if this was mercy. No, she said softly, almost kindly. This is foresight. Mercy is cheap. Survival is priceless. And if the next war comes, the galaxy will remember who gave it to you. I realized then the truth. Humans were not just allies. They were a scalpel in the dark, precise, inevitable, terrifying. They could have destroyed the Threxians entirely. They chose not to. But every life spared was also a lesson learned. Every step of restraint had purpose. And as I stared at the stars, littered with the husks of defeated fleets and burnt-out warships, I understood a simple, terrifying fact. The galaxy had not yet seen the full measure of humanity. They had saved us once. They had returned to reward us. And the reward was far more dangerous than any weapon the Council had catalogued. Because humans didn't just fight. Humans didn't just survive. Humans taught you how to survive. And once you learned, the universe would never forget your debt. The debt we owed would define the next era of war. And the first lesson had already begun. The final wave of Threxian fleets came not for Earth, not for us, but for the Council itself. The Council's chambers erupted in panic when sensor grids detected thousands of human stealth vessels appearing at the edge of their systems. Not a single alarm had been sounded. The humans didn't announce themselves. They never did. Admiral Harlow's voice filled every communication channel, calm, measured, and lethal. You underestimated us. You underestimated those who fought with us. You underestimated the species you call primitive. This ends now. What followed was not the war the galaxy expected. There were no fanfare bombardments. No drawn-out sieges. The humans moved like shadows across a chessboard, disabling communications, intercepting supply lines, cutting off escape routes. Council fleets scrambled, but every move they made had already been anticipated. Every escape corridor had been blocked before they knew it existed. We, the Verati, watched from our rebuilt stations, horrified and exhilarated. The humans were meticulous. They struck without killing unnecessarily, precision surgical strikes against critical nodes, enough to humiliate, to warn, to force a lesson into the minds of every counselor and strategist. Then Harlow addressed the captured leaders personally. Her augmented eye glimmered with quiet fury. You cast aside those who fought for you, she said. You left civilizations to burn while you calculated politics. You measured lives like commodities. And now, her voice dropped. You understand how it feels to be powerless. The counselors were terrified, yet alive. That was the brilliance. Humanity could have annihilated them. But they didn't. They wanted understanding. They wanted fear. They wanted the galaxy to remember who had the final say, and who had the power to decide restraint. Then came the reward for us, the Verati. Harlow's fleet deployed massive orbital platforms around our colonies, each one capable of producing fleets faster than the Council could count them. New energy grids stabilized our world, making famine, drought, and resource scarcity obsolete. Every city had defense systems, shipyards, training facilities that turned our people from survivors into strategists and warriors. And with it, she left instructions, protocols, and subtle warnings. Use these gifts wisely. War is inevitable. The galaxy is watching. Fail to learn, and the debt you carry will be your undoing. We celebrated. Yes. We built. Yes. But there was a sobering realization underneath every cheer. Humans had given us the tools not just to survive, but to reshape the future. And with those tools came responsibility and fear. The Threxians, licking their wounds, sent emissaries to negotiate peace, trembling before the species they had once thought weak. The Council went silent, its pride shattered. The galaxy finally learned a lesson the humans had known all along. Underestimate humanity at your peril. But the true shock came years later, when human probes sent cryptic messages to allies across the stars, revealing plans for joint defense coalitions, training programs, and contingencies so far beyond normal comprehension they bordered on terrifying. Harlow's final message was simple. You saved us once. You stood when others fled. You are now architects of your own survival. Protect it. The universe will try to take it from you. When it does, remember who gave you the edge. Remember the debt. And pay it forward. We understood then that the reward had never been ships, weapons, or power. The reward was knowledge, mentorship, and the terrifying clarity that humanity never forgets and never forgives. And the galaxy finally understood. Humanity wasn't just a species to be feared for its firepower. Humanity was a species that taught survival, strategy, and cunning as a weapon itself. Humanity was inevitable. Humanity was unstoppable. And anyone who had once called them primitive now trembled in the shadow of a species that had saved, conquered, and rewarded with a precision that left no one alive to question it. We owed them a debt, and the galaxy owed them respect. For in returning the favor, Humans had done something even greater than vengeance. They had rewritten the rules of the cosmos. And the universe would never be the same.